The thing that most of us get wrong about manifesting is that we have this big dream, like publishing a book or launching a podcast, and all you dream about is the end. That's it. You miss the bridge between where you are and the thing that you want. And so let's use another metaphor, everybody, okay? Let's use the metaphor of running a marathon. So a marathon is 26.2 miles. How many of you have on your bucket list, someday it would be amazing to run and complete a marathon? That would be something pretty cool to do before I die. Now, you may have a million excuses for why it's not going to happen, but just allow the dream to flow through you. Have you ever wanted to summit a mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro? Have you ever wanted to run, a marathon? Doesn't matter. We're going to use this as a teaching tool. So let's say that your goal is to run a marathon, 26.2 miles, okay? The mistake that everybody makes is they literally visualize crossing the finish line. That's not how manifesting works.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I quit on my business partner. I was making $300 a month, and I didn't have the motivation to keep going. And the thing that got me through was studying the stories of entrepreneurs who've had massive success. And I hope that in sharing these stories with you, you find a motivation to keep going. And if I'm being honest, I still need the stories for myself today too. So today, let's learn from some of the best and figure out how to activate the law of attraction. Enjoy.
Manifesting, remember, is the bridge that's going to get you to the finish line. Manifesting is preparing you. It's like a training run. So what do you manifest? What do you visualize when you want to complete a marathon? You got to visualize the pain in the rear end stuff. You got to visualize running in the rain. Visualize your alarm going off at 5:30 in the morning. It's dark. It's cold. You don't want to get out of bed, but you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed. And then you visualize yourself pulling on your tights and the dog is looking at you. And you visualize walking through a quiet apartment or house. And then you visualize opening up the front door and, it's raining. And you visualize that you don't want to go outside and maybe you'll skip the run, but then you visualize grabbing your raincoat and going out that door. And then you know what you visualize? You visualize yourself at mile 7 on a training run and your earbuds, the batteries die. And you just want to give up. But guess what? You keep running. That's the kind of stuff that you visualize. You visualize the hard, the annoying, the stuff you don't want to do. If you want to make more money, you better visualize staying in on the weekends and working on your business instead of blowing your cash at the bar. If you want to have a different relationship with your spouse, you should visualize going to counseling or listening to books about how to improve your relationship and working on yourself. Seriously, you gotta visualize the hard stuff.
Rule number 2, be in harmony with your vibration with Bob Proctor.
Attraction it's a secondary law. It isn't a primary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. And the law of vibration decrees that everything moves, nothing rests. We live in an ocean of motion. Circulation being one of the first laws in the universe. When circulation stops, death sets in. Well, we operate on a frequency. You do, I do. And what we're really attempting to do is raise the frequency that we're operating on. We want to operate on a higher frequency all the time, because that's where the real beauty of life is. Well, this thing we're living in is a molecular structure in a very high speed of vibration. And the brain is an electronic switching station that alters the vibration we're in. Well, we operate on a frequency, and the only thing we can attract to us is that which is in resonance with us. So the reaction is actually attraction. It's like Emerson said, the law of cause and effect was the law of laws. Action, reaction is the law of cause and effect. Well, our thoughts, feelings, and actions we send off into the universe. It's a vibration. The universe sends it back. It responds in like manner. Well, the response of the universe is the attraction. You can only attract to you what vibrates in harmony with you. So if we see things coming into our life that we don't like, let's understand what we don't like is in harmony with something inside. So we better try and understand what it was or what it is and then get rid of it. Attraction's a secondary law, and we've got to understand it is very real, and you only attract to you what you're in harmony with. When you want something that's on a higher frequency, you've got to operate on that higher frequency, because all the thoughts and things that you require are on that higher frequency. Most people, I say, are living on an AM frequency trying to listen to FM music. It doesn't work.
How do you know what vibration or frequency level you're operating at? Because people often judge their performance by their productivity, by their efficiency. We're not trained, as you said, with your paradigm, again, going back to that, we're not trained to observe our frequency and vibration, and people are not sure. So if someone's listening and watching us today, how do they know what their vibration or their frequency is? How do they diagnose that?
Well, I think the only way to do it is by the results you're getting. It'll tell you.
Right. Makes sense.
See, the results do tell the truth. They don't lie. Spirit manifests through its polar opposite. Always. We're spiritual beings. Spirit flows to and through us. And will do anything for us. Whatever we ask, it'll give us. And we're asking in thought. So what we want to do is take a look. What have I been thinking? Take a look at your results. You'll know what you're thinking. That's how you can tell the frequency you're on. You want to start frequencies, vibrations, feeling. When you say, I feel bad, what you're really saying is, I'm not in a very good vibration. You say, I feel particularly good. You're saying, I'm in a pretty good vibration. Conscious awareness of vibration is referred to as feeling. So I think the way to really understand the frequency and the vibrations you're operating on is by the results you're getting.
Yeah.
And if you're continually having problems in all areas of your life, you're on the wrong vibration, very low level of vibration. And we can change it.
Rule number 3, do less to attract more with Gabby Bernstein.
I can do less and attract more. Boom, people. I can do less and attract more. That is actually one of my favorite passages from Super Attractor. Do less and attract more. It's such a heart-opening way of living, because often we live in this way where we think the harder I push, the more I do, the more pain I have, the more I suffer, the more I will succeed, the more I will accomplish. It's so the opposite. When we push, when we control, when we try to force things into form, we really get in the way. In my book, Super Attractor, I talk about being a manic manifester, someone who's constantly trying to do all the spiritual things to try to make things happen. But manifesting is quite the opposite. Manifesting is doing less and attracting more, being more receptive to the energy that is around us, being more open to that heart-centered place within us, and not forcing or pushing or trying to control, because all that control and all that pushing and all that doing gets in the way of all of our capacity to receive. So I bet this will be a topic that will come up over and over again on this episode. Do less and attract more. It always shows us what we need. The cards reveal the theme for the show. Let's see what comes through. Say that affirmation just for a moment to yourself before we bring in our guests. I can do less and attract more. Just say that to yourself. I can do less and attract more. And just feel into that. Doesn't that feel good to just say that to yourself? I can do less and attract more. Wow. What a nice, different perspective on life. I've trained myself to live in that way. I've lived that way, the opposite of that, for over 2 decades, I'm sure. Maybe over 3 decades I was pushing and controlling. Now at 41, I'm finally allowing myself to step back, to give things away, to ask for help, to do less and attract more. I can testify that the less you push and control, the less you try to do, the more you will receive.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 4, focus on what you want with Dean Graziosi.
I want to share one thing that is relevant to you with everything I'm reading. Combine that. There was a gentleman, when Tony does Date with Destiny, he literally asks if there's anybody in the audience that's thinking about suicide. Pretty tough question to ask. And Tony says, I'm guessing about 10 with the size of this audience. 9 people raised their hand. And this gentleman raises his hand. And Tony walks out in the audience, gets right up to him and says, can you tell me what's going on in your life? He's like, well, my mom was sick when I was young. So I quit college and decided to take care of her for a year. And he said, a year turned into 20-something years. And she lasted, and I was there taking care of her. And he's like, I never dated, I didn't go out. And now my mom passed away. And he said, I am the person who gets made fun of at the office. I don't know how to dress. I've never been with a woman. I've never even kissed a woman. I don't know how to date. I've tried online dating and I embarrass myself. There's no purpose to this life. I go to work, I get nothing. I don't want to be here anymore. So Tony does some things that are completely shocking. I wanted to go up and hug the guy, but Tony was right. He's the one who knows how to do this. Tony shocked him and said, all right, that story would make me want to kill myself. How long you been telling that crap story? And that's only done not because he doesn't care. He wants to shock him out of this state of like getting into it, right? So long story short, what I want to share with you is this. Tony does some things. He gets him up on stage and he gets 2 chairs and he puts a chair over here and he puts a chair over here and he puts a whiteboard here and he puts a whiteboard over here. And this is the lesson for today. He says to him, okay, I hear all the things you're going through. Tell me what you don't want. So Tony writes really sloppy. If you've ever been to his event, you can't even read what he says. He says, what don't you want? And the guy says, I don't want to be alone. I'm going to just scribble. I'm not going to write all this out. I'm just going to tell you, and this is how fast Tony goes. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to get made fun of. I don't want to feel insecure. I don't want to be in a job I hate. And this guy goes on, and Tony can't write as fast as what he doesn't want. He doesn't want to be sad at night. He doesn't want to feel that he's facing the world all by himself. He doesn't want to feel like a weirdo when he literally said weirdo when he goes to a party and leaves insecure. And Tony's just writing and scribbling like this, and Tony's making a mess. And he's like, whew, okay. So he gets Tony gets him up, comes over to this other chair, sits him in the other chair, and he says, what do you want? What do you want? He says, okay, tell me what you want. And the guy sits there and goes, I don't want to be alone anymore. Tony goes, no, that's on this list. That's what you don't want to be alone. Okay, tell me this. He thinks, he says, I don't want to get made fun of anymore. Tony goes, that's what you don't want. This gentleman could not say for minutes, it seemed like an hour, what he wanted. So think about that. That's like getting in your car and you're going to go on a trip. And you get in the car and the family's in the car, the kids are in the back, and you say, we're going on a trip. We're not going to go to Florida. Let's go. Well, where the hell are you going? And then I combine that with everything I'm reading and knowing my personal life and the things I've manifested and thought about. When you think about what you don't want, if you think about, I don't want to be alone. 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 What happens? You are alone because what you put your attention on is what you get. This poor guy did not have a list of what he wanted. Finally, he said, I want to be in a relationship. Tony said, hallelujah. He wants something. What kind of girl do you want? He went, oh, I don't know. He wanted a relationship. He barely knew he wanted a relationship. When he said he wanted a relationship, he didn't know what kind of girl, what color hair, how old, what she did for a living. Do you want somebody who's positive, negative, what? He literally spent so many years thinking about what he didn't want. All he kept doing is compounding and manifesting what he didn't want. And I watched this guy's life change when he did simply one thing. Made a list of what he wanted. And Tony said to him, and then again, all the things that I've done in my own personal life, what if you woke up tomorrow and made sure you didn't think about what you didn't want? You just envisioned what you wanted and it was coming true. Tomorrow will be the same no matter what you tell your brain. If you're in debt, if you have an illness right now, if you don't feel the best, you're going through a divorce or a troubled relationship, or you're in a dead relationship and you don't know how to fix it. Here's the thing. If you focus on what you don't want, it's still going to be there either way. But what if you focus on making that relationship, finding a spark, or maybe ending something that's really bad, or finding somebody new, or focus on, yes, I'm in debt right now, but I'm going to focus on where I want to go when I'm not out of debt. Because again, tomorrow will be there and you will be living in the moment you're in, and you have a choice. Do I want to focus on what's wrong and what I don't want, or do I want to focus on what I do want? That was such a powerful thing when I got to watch that firsthand. And I watched him go from this guy in a state of wanting to kill himself, writing what he wanted, and Tony went deep on him. Do you know 15 minutes later, he was up on stage. They spiked his hair. They rolled up his sleeves. He was on stage dancing like I had never seen. The smile, it was probably he said it was the most fun he had ever had in his life, only because he stopped thinking for just 1 minute what he didn't want and started thinking what he did.
Rule number 5 is break the negative thought pattern with Rhonda Byrne.
If you would just think about what you want, that's all you'd ever get in your life.
Ooh, it's as simple as that. But a lot of people, yeah. But a lot of people think a lot of negative things consistently. It's on a loop that just holds them into this negative pattern. So how do we break that negative thought pattern?
Right. The mind is like a computer program. So, and the fact that it's on a negative loop is because we programmed it on a negative loop. But we could have been influenced when we were children and things like that. So one of the things that the mind loves repetition. I mean, it loves it. If you really watch your thoughts, this is the same old thoughts over and over again. It's just kind of dishing up the same old thing. So it loves repetition. So the way you can override a program is to put in the opposite, and when you start out, you feel like you're lying, you'll say something like, you might be really broke. Gee, I was when I was making The Secret. So you might not have any money and you're trying to instill, wealth and prosperity and riches. And every time you say it, you feel a contraction in your body because you don't have it. But, truly, because I did it myself, after a while you change it. You really begin to change it and you don't quite have that contraction anymore. And then you start to see money coming in, in different ways. Or you can be given things that you were going to buy and now you don't have to buy it. Or so you start to see signs of land, is one of the great new thought writers would say, talk about a sign of land. So you start to see sign of land. Now, that's what I did in The Secret. You can do gratitude. That will turn everything around. That will make you feel good. That will get you off the negative rant. But those negative thoughts are coming from beliefs held in the subconscious mind.
And rule number 6, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is change your beliefs.
Once I learned, early on, I was in graduate school and I read a book called Seth Speaks, and it was about all this stuff we're talking about. And it was a book channeled by this woman named Jane Roberts. And it just rung true as truth. I just said, this feels right. And what she was teaching is that your beliefs are a choice. We think our beliefs are the result of seeing something outside of us. We say, I believe if a spider bites you, your skin turns red because that's what I saw happen.
Yeah.
But we can hypnotize people, tell them my thumb is a poker, hit them on the hand, and their hand will form a blister. We can tell people that this is poison ivy and give them maple leaves, and they'll do that and their skin will break out in a rash.
Sure.
Tell people the poison ivy is a maple leaf, run the poison ivy on it, nobody breaks out in a rash.
Right.
So we know that so much of our internal behavior and our feel-good is created by beliefs. Mm-hmm. Now, then the question I had was, well, what should I believe? What if I believe the wrong thing and I'm going to get myself in trouble? I was afraid to believe anything for a while. And then I realized the only beliefs that make any sense are the beliefs that will take you from where you are to where you want to go. So what are the beliefs that successful people believe? Look at Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty, sexually abused as a child, but she believed that she could get to where she wanted to go. Someone else without that belief didn't try. So simply the belief, and it's a choice. everything is a binary choice. You're either believing something that takes you where you want to go or something that takes you away from where you want to go.
What is fear? Is fear something that you should fear? No. I want you to imagine as you're driving down the street in your car and a light pops up on the dashboard. A light pops up. Have you ever taken a hammer and hit the light because you don't like the light? Of course not. That would be silly, right? What if the light on the dashboard was just a signal? Maybe you're low on tire air pressure. Maybe you're missing air or water in your windshield wiper. Maybe the back trunk door is open. Isn't the signal in your car just for you to be aware that maybe something is wrong or something needs attention? Is it possible that if we stop thinking of fear as the enemy, fear is one of your biggest friends? Why? Well, when you understand how did this organism, develop and how does it keep us alive? It pays attention to things, in your external world, triggers from your external world that could cause your death or destruction. It causes you to do what? When there is a potential threat, predator or threat at the door. It lights up the fear signal, sends cortisol, epinephrine, or norepinephrine into your bloodstream so you either know how to fight it, you run away, or you freeze, hoping that the predator will go away. So when your brain, every brain, gets this signal that there is a threat at the door, it sends a signal in the form of a neurochemical that you feel. Now, if somebody feels this threat in their body, but they don't know how to manage the emotion we call fear. Let's say there's a fear that you have a failure and what it might mean to your family. What about a fear of losing money and not having enough to pay the rent, the mortgage, or for retirement? What if there's a fear of trying something and then it not working out and you're embarrassed or ashamed or ridiculed or rejected or judged? Oh my God, if you judge me, then you're going to reinforce my low self-esteem of myself, and then all this, then who am I? You understand what's happening in the circuits I'm just describing? So when our brain has this fear circuit activated, do you think the fear circuit causes you to go, oh, hey, let's take action anyway? Or do you think it goes, high alert, high alert, high alert, be aware, what's going on? What if you fail? What if you succeed? What if you succeed and fail? Whenever that circuit is triggered, motivational circuit shuts down. Whenever that circuit is activated, your thinking circuit shuts down. All the blood flow goes into a part of your brain to help you do what? Possibly run away, protect yourself. It's a protection mechanism. But here is what I want you to remember. This automatic trigger and circuit has been evolving for millions of years. But your specific experiences since you were born in the modeling, experiential, and the imprinting years caused you to have beliefs about things. Some empower you, some disempower. Let me give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example. When I say the word, or let me give you a different, the same example with just a little different story. If I say to you that I'd like to take a big snake about 5 feet long and let it slither across your arm and around your neck and it's a python, how many of you go, oh, wow, that would be great? Versus how many of you are going, oh my God, let me run away, get it off of me. Just think of a snake slithering on you and curling itself around your neck. How many of you are like, run? Versus, oh my God, that would be great. Can you take a picture of me with it so I can put it on social media? So is it really the snake that is the threat, or is it your concept in your brain, the meaning that you have associated with a snake that is activating for some of you the reward center and for others the fear center? Same stake, same stimuli. There isn't even a snake here. I just had you think about it right? And it triggered that fear circuit for some, reward circuit for others. So it's never about the thing. So when we have fear of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, judged, fear of disappointing ourselves, fear of failing, fear of succeeding, there's 50 different types of fears, we automatically trigger the circuit that does what? Stops our action taking.
You need to create an environment of excellence. Excellence. Most people's environments are not excellent. The people around you, the videos that you watch, the things that are on your wall, the voices that are in your head, you have these moments that are bold, that are courageous, that make you feel unstoppable and you can do anything, and then you fall back down because the environment is the thing that's keeping you small. It takes a giant effort to overcome your environment. You definitely can. It's definitely possible. Tons of people are doing it, but it takes that giant effort to say, I don't want to stay stuck here. Most people stay stuck. Most people make minimal improvements in their life year over year. And if you don't want to stay where you are right now, fast forward to 1 year from today, you don't want to stay stuck. You want to be in a different place. Could actually be physically moving, but a different place in terms of your finances, in terms of your purpose, in terms of how much you're giving and caring and sharing and the life that you want to build. You want to be somewhere totally different. Like today, this is not acceptable anymore. I accept that this is where I am right now, but where I end up is not going to be the same spot as where I am right now, right? If that's your commitment, the biggest shift that will help you get from where you are now to where you want to be is creating that environment of excellence. What's the fastest way to learn a language? What's the fastest way to learn Japanese? Well, it's to go to Japan. Sure, you can read some books and you can hire a tutor, and the more intense it becomes, the more you're actually living it, the faster you're going to pick it up. So if you want to develop the mindset of the high achiever, if you want to become that person, the people that you look up to, the whoever of the world, like I want to be the next whoever, perfect, that person, the more you hang around with them, the more it's going to rub off on you how they think. Because how they think, how they act, how they behave, how they see the world is very different than how you see it right now and how the people around you definitely see the world right now. So how do you do it? How do you start to become it? Well, I look at what I'm doing. And this was one of my biggest challenges when I was getting started, and honestly still in. Like I think the biggest problem in the world is a lack of belief. I'm trying to solve the world's biggest problem. People don't believe in themselves enough. I don't, you don't, Oprah doesn't. People don't believe in themselves enough for the next level. So how do you start to believe in yourself more? The thing that helped me the most was to have these successful people around me constantly. And so I want to share a few tactics that I think can really help you, that has really helped me as being the shy, introverted kid who never wanted to be in front of a camera and was making $300 a month and quit on my business partner and thought life was over, right? To now here. And it's taken me 20 years to get here. So hopefully we can shorten that path for you if you actually follow some of the advice in this video. So step number one, how do we create that environment of excellence? What you feed into your brain really matters. So figure out how you love to learn. For me, it's videos. I like to see things. I need to be visual. If that's you, then you need to have a way to have those videos coming into your life every day. It could be part of your morning routine. That's why I make this channel. Part of your morning routine. Subscribe to the channel every morning, every weekday. We got a new video out there for you to give you the shot of espresso to help you. But if it's not my channel, it's some other channel, one of my other channels. Subscribe to the channels that make you feel bold, powerful, unstoppable, give you hope, give you belief in yourself. And then watch that video every day, or listen to that podcast every day, or read that book every day. The trick is it can't be the same book or the one video, because that one video on repeat is going to lose its effectiveness, right? You know it. You watch a video, it gets you all fired up, and then you watch it again the next day, and it's not as like, oh, what happened? I don't feel as good. And you watch it the next day, and the feeling's gone. So you can't just read the same book over and over, watch the same video over and over and over again. The key is to find a consistent source. So if you love this channel or you love this video, I'm making other videos just like this that you can subscribe to. If you like an author, go find their other books or go find the people that inspire them so that you can read something every day. If you like a podcast, go find other podcasts like them. So you have something every day. So you are manipulating what comes in your head with intention now. With intention. So you're not just scrolling through things like, I am going to watch one of these videos every day to slowly shift myself forward. Because it'll happen. If you love Elon Musk and you watch Elon Musk every day, what will happen is slowly, day by day, you will start to think like Elon Musk. It will happen. He will pull you forward. You will start to see the big difference in how he thinks versus how the people around you think versus how you think right now. And he will give you more courage and more boldness and more a sense of hope and purpose that you can do it too. You'll start to think more like him. So be careful who you pick. And maybe you don't like Elon Musk. Maybe you like Kanye West or Oprah Winfrey or whoever. But the more you're around that person, the more you will start to think like them. So you want to put that as part of your daily routine, that every day, because yesterday was a different day. You might have been fired up, bold, motivated, great, but today's a new day. The motivation you had yesterday is nowhere near what it is right now when you wake up. Right? You can have the best day of all time. You wake up the next day and it's gone. So how do you keep the consistency? The routine. Tell yourself, I'm going to watch a video even when I don't want to, even when I feel low energy, even when, right, all the excuses we come up with, I'm going to watch a video to get myself into the state I need to get into because I want to follow my dreams. I don't want to be stuck here anymore. Tied to that is then subscribe to the channels that make you feel that way. So do an audit of all of the channels you follow on YouTube, of all the people you follow on Instagram, anywhere you're spending time on social. Do an audit of who makes you actually feel more bold and who makes you just waste time or who makes you feel bad about yourself. There's some people you probably follow who, when you look at their stuff, it actually makes you feel worse about yourself. Unfollow those people immediately, right? They don't care about you, so why are you caring about them? And then the people who make you feel better, follow them, subscribe to them, so that when you happen to be on the platform, when you happen to be going through YouTube or Instagram, you see them and it makes you remember why you're doing what you do. So the first part of it is a habit. We are designing our routines around this, that I'm going to watch a video every day with my heroes so that they pull me forward, right? We're putting it into our calendar. The second part of it is I'm also going to subscribe to channels and people that inspire me so that when I happen to be on the platforms, I'm feeding myself with things that inspire me and lift me up instead of waste my time or put me down. Okay? So that habit, that environment really, really matters. The second part of environment, to create our environment of excellence, right, is the physical environment. So this office inspires me. This was all with intent. The people on the wall behind me, we got Steve Jobs, A.P. Giannini, my parents, Howard Schultz, Kanye West, the trophies, the YouTube stuff, I'm getting my hands wrong here. This side, the art, the art that people drew, my book, my neck brace from when I broke my neck, even the colors on the wall, all of this, it inspires me. This inspires me. When I walk into this office, I want to believe more in myself. I see Steve Jobs staring me down. I see my parents staring me down. It's like a reminder of what I want to do, because I wake up and I don't have the most energy. I don't feel super bold and let's go take on the day, right? I don't have that as soon as I wake up. But we manufacture it through the habits and routines, but also the actual physical environment. And the beauty about this is you only have to set it up once. I set this up once and then I walk in, and every day I'm being hit with these messages and reminders of the person that I want to be. So whether that's a mood board you put up for yourself, whether it's people that inspire you, you have to look at the thing, and it inspires you to want to push a little harder. It inspires you to want to believe in yourself and more. It inspires you to want to go off and take some kind of action today. The physical environment matters a lot, and you can control that. So think about your office, think about your bedroom, think about your car, think about where you're spending significant time and how much of that has actually been done with intent. How much of your physical environment has been created with intent to make you believe in yourself more. It matters a lot. And then the third thing, really quick, is your outfit, the clothes that you wear, how you show up for yourself. When I put this on, I remind myself that I'm a superhero going to work. That might sound really dumb or cheesy, but you know what? It works for me. I am a superhero going to work. I'm not fighting crime. I'm fighting lack of belief. I want people to believe in themselves more, and I'm going to work. When I see, there was a Green Arrow show I used to watch, and when they were in their base, in their lair, they always put their outfits on a mannequin, right? So when they're off fighting crime, they're in their uniforms, but then when they come back to their base, they're in normal clothes, but they put their outfits on a mannequin. So I went and got myself a mannequin. It's just, you can't see it, but it's just sitting here off camera. I got a mannequin, and it's got my hoodie on it as a reminder that I'm a superhero going to work every day. And again, that might sound really cheesy or dumb or corny, but I like it. It works for me. And putting this on every day, instead of just showing up in my pajamas, I work from home. You know, we've got 30-something people on the team. I don't see my team physically that often. Most people work from home. I could just show up every day in my pajamas. But putting this on reminds me that I'm a superhero with a mission. Whether you want to adopt that or not is up to you, but how you present yourself for yourself, not just for the camera. I'm not putting this on just for the camera. I'm putting this on because this is what I put on. This is for me. I could make a video in my pajamas. That's fine. But I'm making this for me. I wear this for me. What do you need to do for you? Not just because there's some expectations. When your expectations of yourself become higher than what you think other people's expectations are for you, that's when the game starts to change. When I'm wearing something just because of how I think you guys will perceive me, or some speech I'm doing, or some meeting, I'm only living up to that person's standards, or what I think their standards are. And said, no, I'm doing this for me. I wear this for me. I show up like this, even if I'm not making any kind of content. I only make content once a week, usually for YouTube. What am I doing the other days of the week? I'm still wearing this because I'm a superhero going to work, and it's my reminder. This is how you start to create an environment of excellence, guys. Your environment is keeping you where you are. Your environment is keeping you stuck. And if you don't want to be stuck anymore, if you want to change your circumstances, if you don't want to be in the same spot you are right now 1 year from today, you have to create an environment of excellence. How do we do that? Number one, we start feeding our mind with excellence from the videos and podcasts and books from people who inspire us. Number two, we change our physical environment, so that you walk into a room, you walk into your car, you walk into your bedroom or office or wherever you're spending time, and it pushes you forward to step into the person that you want to be. And then number three, the outfits, what you wear, how you present yourself, having a higher standard for yourself than what other people expect, that you are a superhero going to work every day because you are on a mission. You've got a great heart. You've got tons of ideas. I see it over and over and over and over and over again. So much potential, and just stuck because there's a lack of momentum that stems from having a really poor environment. If you can just change with intention that I am going to create an environment of excellence for myself that inspires me and pushes me forward to step into the person I want to believe that I can be, if you can do that every day, your entire life will change.
The voice within us that believes that we are not allowed to be happy. Our card today is speaking to that. I believe I'm worthy of feeling good. I believe I am worthy of feeling good. This is often something that is a belief system that sounds really nice, but it's actually far from our reality, because many of us have been brought up with the belief system that we have to suffer to succeed, that we have to feel pain to have purpose, that we have to have struggles in order to feel a sense of serenity in our life. That is all quite backwards. It's when we feel good that we actually attract more of what we want into our life. But we have to undo the belief system that says, who am I to feel good? Who am I to feel great? Who am I to be happy? That belief system is an ingrained belief system that can be cultural, that can be something that we learned from our upbringing. It can be something that we have picked up from this difficult experience that we're going through right now with COVID. When we witness people suffering, we think, well, how dare I be happy? I would say to you, how dare you not be happy? It's your happiness. It's the collective happiness. It's the group collective happiness that raises the energetic frequency of the world. If we, those of us who have moments of happiness and grace and joy and success, and we don't celebrate them, we are doing the world a disservice. We are shutting down the light. We are bringing down the vibration. So we have to, when we feel good, we have to reach for more. When we feel good, we have to recognize that that good feeling emotion has momentum. It has power. It elevates our children. It elevates our family members. It elevates our friends. It elevates strangers on the street. It is your divine duty here on earth to bring forth that greatness, that goodness, that light. So when you hear that voice that says to you, you are not worthy of feeling good, I want you to hear my voice come through and say to you, who are you not to feel good? This is your divine purpose. It is your mission, and it is the way that you heal and serve. You got me? We are more comfortable being uncomfortable than we are being happy. So when things are good, and when we start to get a sense of feeling good, our ego, the voice of fear within us, starts to say, hell no, too good to be true. And it will find these weird little corners to pick up problems. We have a fault-finding mindset rather than a solution, happiness-oriented mindset. So when that happens, the next time you notice that you're feeling good and all is well, and all of a sudden you're like, but I wasn't nice enough to that person, or my coworkers aren't in a good place, or I didn't do that right, I want you to speak back to that voice. I want you to say, thank you for sharing, but I choose happiness instead. Thank you for sharing, but I don't believe that voice anymore. Thank you for sharing, but I'm choosing this moment. Give yourself permission in the moment to speak back to the fault-finding voice and start to claim the greatness of who you are. That is a pattern because you've lived your life in a habitual pattern of seeking problems and finding fault. Now we have to redirect and create a new habit and pattern of grounding you in the truth of who you are, which is happiness, joy, peace, and grace, sharing that happiness, joy, and peace with so much grace. That's what you're here for.
I think one of my first things in failure is don't take it more personally than it actually is. And I'll give an example of that. When I was applying to 40 companies that all rejected me before an interview, all I was getting was an automated response saying your application will not go any further. I can't take that personally because they didn't meet me in person. They didn't have a interaction with me. They just saw my name. They saw I'd been a monk for 3 years. That resume is useless. I mean, what's your transferable skills? Like sitting in silence and stillness. Surprise, surprise, no one wants to hire a monk. And so they rejected you, but that's not personal because they didn't meet me in person.
But what if they had meeting you in person?
Right, so that's the first step. The first step is don't take all failure. I'll give you an example. Me and you, we reach out to countless guests to be on our podcast.
Who say no all the time.
Who say no all the time. But if I don't hear a no from the guest directly, that's not a no. Like someone's team can say no, someone's assistant can say no, someone's PR team can say no. But until they say no personally, it's not a no.
Okay, but when they do say no,
then that's a no. Yeah, so then let's move to that.
So how do you deal with that type of failure?
Yes, so if I deal with a failure where someone meets me in person and gets to know me.
No, Jay, you're horrible, you suck, like I don't want to deal with a monk ever in my life. I would never go on your show, I'm never listening to you, never. Then how do you deal with that type of failure?
So I've heard you say this, I've said it a couple of times and I'm sure it's been repeated a bunch of times around how I genuinely believe failure has feedback.
It's feedback,
and so for me, it's like failure has the ability to actually tell you what you need to improve. Now, not to improve to get their attention, improving to get the actions that you want to take.
The results you want.
The results you want. And don't make that result about the person who said no. Don't use failure as a way to prove someone else wrong.
Because what happens when we prove others wrong?
When you prove others wrong, you end up trying to get validation and approval for them. And now if they're not impressed when you're right, you lose again. So you end up losing twice.
And you spend all this time and energy, years maybe, to prove someone wrong. I've been there many times. And then you're like, I felt good for a moment. And then I feel empty again.
Totally. And so that's the thing about failure in the second half is you have to see failure as an improvement. If I'm completely honest, everyone who rejected me in my life up until now has made me more hungry, taught me so much more about myself, and made me up my game. And I think if failure doesn't make you up your game, It's the same as losing in a sport. Right? When you fail and you've lost games and you've won games, you know, on the big stages.
You didn't have the skills, you didn't have the teamwork, you guys weren't hungry enough,
you weren't communicating enough.
There's something you were missing.
Yeah.
So you go review the game film, you check the stats, you see what could I have done better, and you try to improve that for the next game.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can do that in life, but we're so afraid to like go on the next game of life. Like I got rejected once and it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
How do people learn to overcome that pain of rejection?
Yeah.
To keep going.
Yeah.
You know, in sports, luckily there's a season, which is like you might have 30 basketball games. After you lose the first 2, you don't say, I'm just going to give up the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You keep playing.
Yes.
But in life, a lot of people stop playing.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I think that's great mental training too. I think sports is great mental training because you have to show up to the next game even if you lost and you don't feel bad.
Exactly.
That you don't feel good, sorry. And one of the things, before I dive into that question, one of the things that you reminded me of was the Last Dance documentary. So there's that season that Michael Jordan, everyone is in agreement that he is one of the best players to be playing. And they keep losing.
And they didn't make the finals.
Right? They didn't make the finals. They lost. And then they realized they need to get the team. And they need to find, I think they bring in Dennis Rodman, and then they start bringing in all these other players that strengthen. Whereas if they would have just said, we got the best player in the world, we just keep doing this, I'm not sure they would have got there, right? But the coach, Phil Jackson, and the team, they had to adapt. And so you're saying, why do we feel that pain in rejection and how do we deal with that? I think we feel that pain because we look at a failure, right? We look at it as a complete definition of us, right? We're looking at it as there's that famous statement of like, you know, failure is an event, not a person.
Right.
And I don't know who said it, but it's one of those statements that really clicks. Like failure is an event, not a person. Whereas we start thinking we are the failure. Like we say, I am a failure. Exactly.
Your personality, literally, Ed, is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And how you think, how you act, and how you feel is your personality, and your personality is intimately connected to your personal reality, your life. So then if you want to change your life, your personal reality, you got to change your personality. And here we go again. You got to start becoming conscious of your unconscious thoughts. You got to start noticing how you act, how you speak. You got to pay attention to how you're feeling. Some people would live in guilt their whole entire life and don't even know it's guilt because at least it feels like them. So then when you start doing that, you begin to objectify your subjective self. So then when you begin to make small changes, back to thought, a new thought should lead to a new choice. A new choice should lead to a new behavior. A new behavior should create a new experience, and a new experience should create a new emotion.
Yes.
And that new emotion is teaching your body chemically to understand what your mind has intellectually understood. Now your body is embodying the truth, right? So then the new emotion should inspire new thoughts, and that's called evolution. So how do we get stuck? It's really simple. The stronger the emotion you feel from some event in your life, be it a betrayal or a trauma or whatever, the more altered you feel inside of you, the more you pay attention to the cause outside of you. So the brain takes a snapshot. It freezes an image and embosses that pattern neurologically in the brain, and that's called a memory. So we create long-term memories from strong emotional events, okay?
So is that true? I just want to understand. Maybe the larger the event in terms of its emotion to you, the stronger of a hold it has over you?
Yeah, well, the more it's embossed in your biology. So some certain people have a strong experience in their life, and it catches all of the brain's attention. So now they think neurologically within the circuits of the past experience, and they feel chemically within the boundaries of those emotions. And so how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. Now here's the problem, that if you don't know how to mediate or control your emotional reaction to that event, and you keep that refractory period of chemicals going on for extended periods of time, so that the event produces a chemical change, and the body needs to return back to homeostasis or balance. But if it can't, then the elongation of that emotional reaction for weeks, say, for days or weeks, is called a mood. So you say, Ed, what's wrong with you? I'm in a mood. Why are you in a mood? Well, this thing happened to me 5 days ago, and I'm having one long emotional reaction. So then what you do is you keep telling the story about it, keep firing and wiring the same circuits, and you keep conditioning the body into the past. So then you wake up in the morning, you look for the emotion. So then now, all of a sudden, you keep it lingering for weeks or months. That's called the temperament. Well, why is he so angry? I don't know. Let's ask him. Why are you so angry? Well, this thing happened to me 8 months ago. I'm having one long emotional reaction. I'm memorizing my emotions. You keep it going on for years on end. That's called a personality trait. So then a person then is memorizing themselves by living in the past. And so then you say to them, well, tell me the story. Now, the latest research on memory says that 50% of what we talk about in our past isn't even the truth. So we make stuff up about the past. In other words, people are reliving a life that they didn't even have just to reaffirm that they can't change, right? Wow. So then what's the significance of this? Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Period.
Yes.
So then the stronger the emotion that you have to some problem or condition or person in your life, the more you're paying attention to them. So they captured your attention. So you're giving your power away to that person, right? Because they're capturing your attention. Wow. So then there's an energetic connection to every person, everything in your past, present reality has your energy connected to it. So now, this is the significance. When a person really decides to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memory of the past, the hardest part about it is all of a sudden becoming conscious and not making the same unconscious choice. So then, if you lower the volume to your frustration, to your hatred, to your anger, if you truly knew how to do that, if you lowered the volume to that emotion, you would take your attention off that person, which means you would begin to break those energetic bonds, and now you're taking your power back. Yes. You're calling energy back to you, and we've measured this, and all of a sudden it builds this bigger electromagnetic field around the person's body. That's energy to heal. That's energy to create a new future with, right? And then if you didn't want to lower the volume to the emotion, then just take your attention off the person. And every time you take your attention off the person, if you became conscious of that, you wouldn't feel the emotion. Now the body, though, has been addicted to that emotion because you're using that person to reaffirm your addiction to hatred or frustration. And if that person died, you'd find another one. So then here you go now. So now you're in a position now where you begin to lower the volume to that emotion, and the body's going, wait a second, you've been doing this for the last 20 years, and all of a sudden you're just going to stop hating? And the body says, well, I've been conditioned this way, and conditioning is based on the past. So when the body feels the lack of that emotion, just like a drug addict, it says, hey, you're off schedule here. So now the body starts influencing the mind to think about experiences that are embossed in the brain that are based on that emotion. So the emotion now is causing you to think in the past. If we teach a person then how to trade that frustration or that hatred for an elevated emotion, and they'll say, yeah, but you know, it was my ex's fault, or I got betrayed by my partner in business. Yeah, we know that. Okay, so let's take your partner in business or take your ex. Let's duct tape them, put them in a cannon, and shoot them to the moon. Now what are you going to do? Sooner or later, you got to reckon with yourself and change, right? So then teach a person then how to trade that emotion for an elevated emotion. Now,
trade the emotion for an elevated emotion.
Right. So you're going to give that up, and you're going to practice feeling gratitude, as an example.
Yes.
And the person says, well, I can't feel gratitude. And I say, absolutely you can, because you don't practice feeling it. You practice spending most of your time feeling hatred and frustration. So now it's going to take a little time to cause that heart of you to bloom, or your heart of yours to bloom. Once they're able to feel even the smallest measure of gratitude, where they start feeling appreciation, thankfulness, gratitude, it's emotional signature. When you get something, when you're receiving something, when something has happened to you, or when something is happening to you, you say thank you because you're receiving something. So the emotional signature of gratitude means the event has already happened, or it's happening to you. So the moment you open your heart and you feel gratitude, well, that emotion then is telling the body that the experience has already occurred, and the thought then can make it into the body because it's consistent with the thought. So now you're beginning to program the autonomic nervous system into a very specific destiny. You got to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day, independent of the conditions in your outer environment, independent of your body's cravings of those emotions and habituations, and independent from time. And if you can, get ready, because something weird or unusual, some synchronicity, some coincidence, some opportunity is going to land in your lap. And you didn't have to go and get it.
Yes.
It came to you. Now you're the vortex of creation. So if you say to me, well, I was feeling gratitude, but then there was traffic, or my coworker sent me a nasty email, then I would say, oh my God, you mean you're allowing your environment, your outer environment, to control how you feel and think? You're back to the unconscious program that you're the victim to your life.
You got it.
But when you start producing those outcomes in your life, you're going to pay attention to what you did inside of you, and you're going to believe more that you're the creator of your life and less of the victim of your life.
Research study in psychology found out that both second person and third person makes you makes your self-talk more powerful. So if you're going to do affirmations, you wouldn't just say, I want to do this, I want to do this. You want to do what we call in the book self-coaching, where you would say, in my case, Brendan, it's important you do a good job here today because you usually don't do interviews. And you really love Marie and you want to do a good job for her and her people. And this is a book you worked on for 3 years and it's important it does well. And Brendan, don't forget, you're so lucky you get to do this, brother. So just enjoy the process. You're so lucky, Brendan. That's a different level of going, I'm lucky, right? It is.
I'm
yes,
great.
Yes. Another one I do every morning in the shower. Yeah. Assuming I take a shower, but every morning in the shower.
Because we all don't every day.
Not every morning.
No, we do not.
It just doesn't happen.
It does not
happen. I told you, 24 hours ago, I was staying in a barn in the woods at a friend's house.
Yes.
But the second thing I ask myself in the shower every morning is, what might happen today that could trip me up? And how are you going to bring your best self to that, Brendan? I say that every morning in the shower to myself. And it just helps me anticipate that, something's going to go wrong during the day.
Absolutely.
And if I already know everything, like this morning's was, okay, you're in, I'm North Manhattan, where I'm staying. Would you call it North?
You're uptown.
I'm uptown.
And you're coming to, let's just call it downtown.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, that's going to be 45 minutes. It's a hot summer day.
Yes.
I'm going to get hot. And I know when I'm hot, sometimes I get impatient.
Yes.
And I get stressed. And I don't want to feel that. So just pay attention to how you're feeling on your way down to the interview with Marie, Brendan. And really just engage. Pay attention. Be present with New York. And really enjoy that you're here. I know that sounds completely crazy, but every high-performing athlete does it. Every salesperson does it. I mean, at high level. Every person I interviewed who are at what we call the top 15% of all high performers, they all self-talk, and most of them we found were doing it in second and third person, which is amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun.
Yeah, little things. Yeah.
I enjoy
So if you already talk to yourself and you say your name to yourself, they're not crazy, you're probably high performing.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you're different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. To learn about the law of attraction secrets, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If the person's doing the vision board and they're saying, when I get my new car, I get my new house, I get my new relationship, then I'm going to feel so great. Well, then they're back to the program.